Hello and welcome to our BOC prep and our self-study guide modules. We're going to take a look at our assignment, creating a preparation schedule for the BOC. This is that all-important moment. So you've done the prior research, you've identified your areas of weakness, you've looked up different resources and taken notes and to identify, or I'm sorry, gather materials for those different areas of weakness within those specific task domains. You've taken a look at the exam material. When is it that you're going to take your exam? Where these exams are located? How much is it going to cost you? And had a much more realistic perception of what that's going to be. And now we're really going to prepare our study plan. And this is absolutely vital because we have to make it objective. We just can't make it arbitrary and say, oh, I'm going to study and I'm going to try to do it as much as possible. We have to make it much more concrete than that. And that's what this assignment is going to allow us to do. You are going to be allowed some flexibility as to how you develop your preparation schedule. If you're an electronic person and it needs to be on an electronic resource, if you're a person that's more paper pencil and you want to do a day planner, that is totally up to you. But we have to develop this prep cycle. So let's take a look at creating a preparation schedule for the BOC. In this assignment, the first thing you're going to know is we really want you to watch these two videos related to the candidate section of the BOC website. These were produced by the BOC for St. Louis University. However, they made them available for all of us to watch. I went ahead and I provided the links here, but they're also available on our main page for the BOC prep on my Graceland. And again, these are in our bookmarks, and you'll see them right here. Here's part 1 and part 2 of that specific profile. But I also have the links embedded in our assignment. What we want you to do is, once you do that, make sure that you've created a profile. I know many of you have already done this, so it's simply just go into BOC Central and log in and identify and show that you've created your profile. But what I want you to do is just provide a quick screenshot here. And the way you do this is by pressing Function Insert or Function Print Screen. So your function key is generally on your lower left part of your keyboard, and that insert or print screen is on the upper right. Press those two. That creates a copy of that screenshot. So if I wanted to screenshot this, I'd press that function insert or print screen, and then I would just simply come down into the document, right click and paste it, and that will put that picture, have a little picture of that screenshot verifying that you've completed your profile. The next piece of this is go out, and again, this is and get that day planner or that electronic calendar. However it is you want to do it, it is totally up to you, but you need to have something tactile that you can go back to and reference to, as well as myself, so that we can have kind of a checks and balances in place. The next thing you're going to want to look at is going to the exam dates. You know, what dates are available for the exam. So if you're looking at exam deadlines, for example, if you're, depending upon which test you're planning on signing up for, you may want to look at those specific dates. And you can see here that they've got them out upwards of October. For some of you, you may not be able to look into the 2015, and that's okay. You can just arbitrarily kind of figure that out or guesstimate it by looking at the previous exam dates for this year in 2014. So for example, the February test, the March-April test, the May-June, etc. You can just simply go in here and see when the deadlines were for each one of those, and just set it roughly the same. And then what you're going to want to do is set that target date here. What I want you to know is, this is really important, is that you can sit for the BOC exam while you're enrolled in your final semester in the program. You do not have to wait until graduation. You can be enrolled in your final semester. But here's the key. You have to have completed the entire BOC prep self-study, which is what you're completing right now, and you have to have passed that exit exam with a 70% or better before I can endorse you. You can go ahead and you can you can put in your application for the exam. So you just simply, if I come back here to candidates, apply for the exam, and again it takes you through the steps for that, and you have to have a BOC Central username and password in order to do that. You can complete the first step, which is sending something to me saying I want to be endorsed for the exam, but it isn't until you complete this process along with that exit exam at a 70% or better before I will endorse your candidacy. Once you do that, I'll endorse you and you can register for your exam. We strongly encourage you to do this during your final semester if you're prepared. That way you can get the very best graduate assistantships, the best jobs out there, because you've been proactive and you've already passed that exam. So once you've chosen that exam date, go ahead and enter it in your calendar or your planner. Go ahead and then look at your course schedule on My Graceland. Hopefully you have at least your fall in, if not your spring. You can go ahead and enter all of your classes in there, or what's on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this time block, Tuesday, Thursday, etc. Then I also want to identify your extracurricular activities. Are you an athlete? Are you not an athlete? Are you involved in clubs and organizations? And if so, what is the common meeting times? What are the common practice times? And if you don't know those, you may want to contact your coach or your club sponsor and just get an idea of when that might be. But hopefully at this point, as juniors and seniors, you have that information or are used to that by now and have an idea of what your schedule is like. The next thing you do is go through My Graceland, look through the BOC prep, look at those self-study modules, look at some of the mock exams, etc., and look at those dates and enter those important dates into your calendar as well. And then go ahead and in your calendar, so once you have all of those in place, what you need to do is you need to schedule in no less than 5 hours per week for 16 weeks. So this is equivalent to 80 hours of study time. Okay. And I want you to note this, that this is not related to the coursework you're in. For example, many of you might be taking organization administration in the fall. You would not be putting in O&A into your study time. Instead, you want to identify areas in coursework that you've already taken and that you need to bolster and improve upon. So go back and look at those top 10 domain weaknesses associated with coursework you have already taken. I know some of you will show various task domains that you're weak in the org ad, but if you haven't taken that course, don't put too much emphasis on it quite yet. So we really want you to study. So don't note that in your study. So if you have Monday that you're studying for 2 hours, or then go ahead and put for that 2 hours that you're going to focus on domain 0107, which is related again to that to health and lifestyle. And then you should have already, again, your BOC references, identified some good references for that and already even taken some notes on it. So another important part with this, and why this is so significant and important, and why we're spreading it out over so many weeks, is that you have to study. General recommendations are upwards of 9 months to 1 year, and so if you get started right now, many of you should have at least 9 months, if not a year, to get started, and this should give you plenty of time, and that way you're not studying by fire hose. Instead, we're getting that distributed practice, and we're spreading it out throughout the year so you don't feel so stressed in the end. Okay. The last part, or the second to last part here, is we want you to show evidence that you have met all of the requirements in part 2 through 8. So effectively, all you're doing is you're showing me what your study guide looks like. And this is pretty easy. Most of you are pretty savvy with your phones, and you can just do a real quick video, whether it's your hard copy or it's your electronic base, and just showing me how you've met each of the items above. You've shown me that you've purchased a planner, or you did it electronically. Show me that you've picked an exam date. Show me that you have put in all your registration deadlines, etc., and that you've entered all your classes, all your club organization things, and that you have put in there those 5 hours or less and what it is specifically that you're studying. So just show me that. You can upload it to YouTube and then just provide me with the link and I can watch that. If that's something you don't want to do and you want to wait until you come back to school, you can simply provide me with a hard copy or an electronic copy showing me that you've done this. And last but not least, we want you to do that reflection. So now that you've looked at that schedule, specifically look at any challenges or barriers that you might foresee to adequately preparing for the BOC. Look at your timeline, look at your obligations, look at all the things you're doing. What are going to be your challenges? And then developing effective strategies to overcome those challenges. So what are you going to do to avoid or overcome those challenges? And why do you think that those strategies will be successful? Why will they work for you? Okay. And then lastly, reward yourself. How will you reward yourself if you stick to your schedule? And this isn't things like I'll reward myself by feeling good about passing the BOC. It's not like that, because you can't control that. What I'm saying is, if you stick to your schedule and you do the things you're supposed to do, how will you reward yourself? Is this rewarding yourself with a day at the spa? Is it rewarding yourself with a big old chocolate shake? Whatever that may be, something that's personally rewarding to you. How are you going to do that? And this is just a behavioral change contract that you're writing with yourself and myself. But here's what I want to point out. Avoid ambiguous responses. Be specific. So if I said, after looking at my schedule, I see a challenge as being, I don't think I'm going to have enough time. Well, none of us have enough time in our day. But if you specifically say, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are very busy days for me given my course load and this and that, leaving me with only 1 hour, my strategy is going to be, I'm going to put my my notes onto Study Blue, and in my 15-minute breaks I am going to practice flashcards on my phone because I have access to that. Those are realistic, more specific barriers, and then I included a strategy to overcome that. Why do I think it's successful? Well, it's because I carry my phone with me wherever I go. Frequently before class, I check my email or I do these things on the phone, but instead I can use this time to do my studying. And again, how am I going to reward myself? Well, if I'm able to stick to this and get my 5 hours per week, and then I'm going to reward myself with a meal at Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever that is. See, all of those things were very specific. So that's been the tutorial on creating a preparation schedule for the BOC. I hope that was helpful, and look forward and continue on your posts on your BOC prep self-study guide.